Alright, so quick test on Jellroy and Jelliette, comparing them to some other maxed pals in the endgame, like these Kilamaris with the maxed workbooks as well, Watering level 5. You could be using Germantide, Gangler Ignis, whatever really. And you can see that they have fixed the issue that was in the game before where they just weren't working on everything. You can see that the time difference now does apply. You get a time difference on the skill fruit orchards, the mill, the crusher, plantations, any form of watering skill, they will have that speed bonus. Now this speed bonus is supposed to scale up to 120% while they are watering, but it seems to be a little bit lower, quite a substantial amount lower when you're comparing them to other maxed pals. You can see that there's a roughly 30% time decrease on these watering stations. 120% would have seen quite a larger percentage time decrease. So with this 30%, it seems to be roughly a 40% speed bonus, not that full 120%. Which is basically because the partner skill isn't stacking multiplicatively, it's stacking additively with something else, some other form of bonus. You have all these sort of research bonuses, we got the food bonus on them as well, some like water fountain, the alpha wave generator, everything like that. But similar to other pals or partner skills, they don't seem to scale perfectly into the end game, so it's not, in my opinion, super worth it to farm all the watering books. You need quite a lot of watering books for these Jellroys and Jelliettes, and you also do need to have 2 of them in a base. If you're playing on default settings, you might not want 2 watering pals in a base. It's a little bit overkill, since you're probably not waiting for like turning wheat to flour or using the crusher. That's usually not a bottleneck. It could be decent in like a skill fruit base, but at the same time you still have that 80-minute growth time to consider. So like just 2 maxed Kilamaris or 2 maxed Germantide Ignis or whatever, they can handle up to around 60 skill fruit trees in that time frame before the growth is over. So you're not going to be waiting around unless you've been stacking skill fruit trees on top of each other in this sort of huge mega base. But they work, they just don't work super well for all the effort required to stack them. And then another thing I tested as well is just putting 4 of them in, like 2 of each, and there was no benefit for that. It was still the same 55-second watering time for these skill fruit trees. So making a bunch of them, like you might want to make them anyway if you want them for your fishing or salvaging teams, but just putting a bunch of them in had no real benefit. So the thing that is not stacking well is if you check the work speed on them while they're watering, you'll see that the passive skill is adding 295%, while on just the Killamari it's 175. So that's where the additive part comes in. It's just stacking with the passives, giving it roughly 40%. Now this will be slightly different. Like if you have maxed out Jellroys, comparing them to pals without watering speed, or without passive skills at all, so just a blank, like watering level 4, then they get that 120%, but you're probably not gonna be making these without the remarkable craftsmanship and all that stuff anyway. So I think you can pretty much just say that it's a 40% work speed increase when you're comparing it to other maxed options that you could use. So it's up to you if you want to use them or not. If you want to do all the effort required to get them, you might want to do it anyway just for the salvaging and fishing teams. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.